Hello, hello. Hey, everybody. How are you? How's everybody doing? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to B.O.W.S, guys. Welcome to B.O.W.S. I'm trying to give it a minute. I can't see. I'm giving it a minute to cycle through here so that way everybody can get on here. We're a little fancy in the building today. Well, in my school, we're celebrating Dr. Seuss Week, Spirit Week. So today was actually Wednesday, and I kind of had like a lot of holidays on. So I took off all of them and left on Thanksgiving. So I'm representing the Indians today. We got the fox in the house. All the real fox. This is real fox, y'all. This ain't fake. This is real fox. Up in here. But anyway, so yes, good afternoon. Hello everybody. Welcome to our B.O.W.S session, our empowering moment with our ladies, for our ladies. This week is going to be co-ed. This conversation discussion today is going to be co-ed. We're going to have men and women on here. And I just hope that this really helps someone's marriage and relationship and thus of that sort. I'm going to give it just a little bit more time to cycle through here. We're trying to wait for some more people. I got some couple of guest members that's going to be joining me in this discussion. And I'm excited. I really am. This is a really great topic to talk about. So yeah, please like and share. Again, welcome to B.O.W.S. So as usual, I will always get to read my my mission statement. I feel like that's really important so that you guys understand why we're here, what we're here for, and that's in the third. So, excuse my voice. Suffering with laryngitis a little bit, singing too much and stuff. So I have to really try to rest, but I can't really rest when you're a teacher and so forth and so on. So here we are. So if I sound a little quiet or not so loud, y'all can just let me know. Because I can see I got all eyes in all places. Just want to let you know, you guys, we are streaming from YouTube as well as Facebook on my business page and my personal page. So please like and share. And if you would like, can you please go to B.O.W.S.com? That's B-O-W. B-O-W. Wait, I'm sorry. Beauty B.O.W.S. What I'm saying. BeautyBows.com. That's BeauTi BOWS.com to check out any information, anything that we got going on. Just to have all of that information is all there in one spot, just in case if you miss anything on our shows. Also, if you would like to go on my YouTube page and please subscribe, that would be great as well. So here, our mission, we are a sisterhood dedicated to empowering the lives of women across the world. Across the world, our mission is to build stronger women from within by enhancing their knowledge of who they are and to connect with the power that resides in unity. We will commit to withstanding all adversities with poise, beauty, and love, forever showing the essence of a woman's touch through prayer and fasting, to never giving up, to never devaluing ourselves, but will vow to be strong and knowing that together we make the strongest bow. So that's what we stand on. That's why we are here. This is exactly our whole entire mission here. So we just want to help in many different ways as possible. I'm so thankful to all of my girls, my B.O.W.S staff who helps me. It's sheer volunteer. So I'm thankful to them. So every month we have a tea time. Last month, February 26th, we had a Diamonds and Denim Tea Time. That was awesome. Thank you, Andrea, for hosting that for me. We had so much fun. It is so wonderful. You meet so many wonderful women. You have good conversations, and we cry together. We laugh together. We partake. We eat. We just share. And it's just that's the wonderful thing about women. When we get together, we draw strength, and that's what I love so much. So every month we have a thing called tea time. And you know how with tea, we spill the tea, we sip the tea, all of that stuff. So I try to change it into something more positive. And so um, our next tea time will be April 9th. We're doing a Beauty and the Beast tea time. It's going to be from 1 to 5 on 100 Reading Circle in Princeton, New Jersey. The host is my mother. She is she calls it the senior chapter of B.O.W.S. So I want to give a good shout out to my mom. So she's doing, it's going to be a really big event. We got vendors, we got so many people coming to talk about physical health, mental health. We're doing I'm doing a makeup tutorial. It's just going to be really wonderful. I got Andrea. She's going to come and do some makeup stuff. So we're going to talk about the beauty and the beast of a woman and things. And when I mean by beast, I mean the things that we suffer and deal with and struggle with that tend to be a little rough for us to either get over or whatever the case may be. So that's something that we want to this fur is a little hot. So that's something that we want to wrestle and deal with. So we're going to be dealing with the both sides of a woman, okay? So that's why it's called Beauty and the Beast, okay? There are going to be food, fun prizes, all kinds of stuff. My mother is hooking it up for you guys, so please come out April 9th from 1 to 5 in 100 Reading Circle. Listen, please come and support and just let's share, have fun, and do what we do as ladies, okay? So that's all of my announcements that I have thus far. So we got a couple of people that are here. So y'all know tonight's topic is going to be, for the church folk, it tends to be a little controversial, a little bit, I guess. But, we free people. So free people can talk, in a respectable way. It's not going to be explicit or anything, but, we like to give information in a lot of different various ways. So I want to introduce these people. There should be some more people coming in there. I don't know, but we'll see, hopefully. So right now, at this present point in time, I would like to introduce, we got Pastor Keys and Pastor Holly. Welcome them, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
And we also got Mr. Boone. Mr. Booty, welcome, welcome.
Welcome. How you guys doing?
Hey, hey, hey. We got a couple more people they haven't signed on yet, so hopefully when they tag in, we will, chime them in there. Okay. So tonight's topic is we're just going to be talking about sex from a spiritual or Christian place in when it regards to marriage. I understand it that we preach abstinence and not being physically involved with someone while we are dating and and courting and different things of that nature. But I had an interesting conversation with a young lady, and she asked the question, and that's what made this topic be a topic. She asked the question, why is it that they tell you not to have sex before marriage, but then when you do get married, they don't give you any other information on how to have a good sexual marriage? And that was good. Like, I really didn't have the answers to her. So this conversation is really wonderful because we want to get some insight on this topic. We really want to find out what is the case, and if there is information, how can they go about it? Because some people are struggling, and some people aren't. Some people are, but as a Christian, you want to be able to have these conversations and be open and willing and free to have more conversations about this area in obviously a productive way. And we don't want to be explicit or anything like that. But so who would like to go first? How about Mr. Boone, you can turn your camera on for me, please.
I'm sorry, I was taking care of our daughter at the time. I'm in the same house, but different rooms.
Right. All right. So who would like to say something at this moment? Or you want me to start calling you?
I think it's a very interesting topic. Very interesting question, to be honest. Of asking that question in regards to that sexuality component of a marriage. I remember Mr. George C. Wright watched a video of Mr. George C. Wright a long time ago when Juanita Bynum was doing this series, Teach Me How to Love You. And Mr. George C. Wright made this comment. He says 3 things that's needed for a successful marriage: good finances, good communication, and good sex.
Mm-hmm.
And if these 3 things are active in the marriage will be healthy and flourishing and going in the right direction. If one of these things go crazy, then the whole marriage is kind of like out of balance, out of whack. I think personally, sex has been such a taboo conversation in church for a number of reasons, and I think it's fine time for us, especially with this generation that's have information by the touch of their finger, to really have real productive dialogue, like you said before. And now, because of social media and because of the internet, it kind of forces the church to really confront somewhat of our own personal demons concerning sex. Because like Denzel Washington said this quote in the movie, one of my brothers Jermaine brought it up. Said sometimes when you ask for rain, you gotta deal with the mud. So like when we talk about sex, especially in the context of church, it kind of puts the church in a compromise, not in a compromised position, but in a vulnerable position of having to discuss everything. Because to be honest, a lot of the problems that we're having in our marriages is because most of us haven't abstained from sex before marriage. So when we get married, we're bringing those previous experiences and expectations into the marriage. And now, because of your prior experience, you have an expectation on your spouse to be a certain kind of way or fit a certain kind of thing. And it's hard and difficult because your spouse ain't your ex. Your spouse ain't the person you were with 3 or 4 years ago. So now, if we're going to talk about it, we have to bring all of our baggage in that experience with us as a conversation to really have true deliverance in that regard. Because I do believe God wants us to have a healthy sex life in our marriages. And I think that's one of the difficulties that happens.
Yeah.
That's good. If we actually just go back to the beginning, so back when God created Adam, and then he said, okay, it's not good for Adam to be alone, for man to be alone. Let me create him a suitable helpmeet. And he created Eve out of his ribs. And Adam saw Eve, fell in love with her, and they were naked and not ashamed, right? So I'm not saying when they started having sex or when they started having relations, but God created the first marriage institution at that time. And at the time, it's holy. There's nothing to be ashamed about. The only thing that brought the shame on was sin. So once sin entered the picture, it dirtied up what God deemed as holy. And so we're growing up in church. You'll be taught, don't have sex, don't do this. The don'ts. Don't have sex, and for the whole 18, 20 years of your life until you get married. Then all of a sudden you get married. It's okay, turn it on. Like, when are you gonna have babies?
Right.
As soon as you say I do, and you're like, well, wait a minute, I don't know what to do. I mean, I don't know. It's okay, because at the first half of your life, you're taught it's wrong. It's dirty. You're gonna go to hell. If you look at it, it's gonna fall off. If you touch it, it's gonna fall off. Right? So you're afraid to touch it. You're afraid to touch her. You're afraid to look at her, because growing up, don't even look at her, because if you look at her, you're just already sinned. So now you have your wife in the honeymoon, and you get home or get to the hotel or whatever, and it's like, okay, now you're expected to perform. You both are under the pressure to perform to something you don't know about.
Right.
Instead of being relational. So we're taught to perform, whether it's in church or in the bedroom or anywhere else. We're taught to perform rather than build a relationship. And the real issue is we don't talk about intimacy, because intimacy goes deeper than I'm trying to hold my tongue. Sorry.
Girl, not saying, girl, we talking here. We talking.
Wow. But I mean, it goes deeper than just the penetration of the sexual act. The relationship and the intimacy brings you closer together. And when we experience that intimacy together, then we experience intimacy with the Father. And people have, like you said, brought shame into it because we've done it outside of the context of marriage. Everything that people have seen or watched is outside of the context of marriage. So we don't have a place to go back to, and nobody teaches us to be relational. And once you build and establish that relationship, then the rest comes easy. But we want to keep everything superficial, because if I get too close to you and I found out the dirt about you, I still have to love you anyway, because now we're intimate. So if I just have sex with you and then I decide I don't like you, it's superficial and I can cut the tie. There's a difference.
See?
There's a difference.
Right. And for me, it's good that you said, Pastor Holly, because like I think a lot of times what happens is, especially I can speak from a male perspective, and women, and I've learned also women, like if we do statistics, women struggle with it just as much as men do. We deal with this age of pornography. What happens now is it objectifies the individual and takes away the individual's value. Where in actuality, you're chasing more of the feeling of release than you are chasing the feeling of connection.
That's good.
And I think personally, and speaking from personal experience, like that's one of the things that I really needed God and continue to need God on a consistent basis to fix and rectify, because you can't unsee what you saw. Like once you've seen what you saw, that image is embedded in your mind. And no matter what you do, that now gives your mind subconscious recall that if you're not careful, that image produces an expectation that's not really real.
Right.
Like they're selling the experience. That might not be the authentic experience they're feeling in that moment. They're selling that experience to you. And like, to be honest, so many people in church struggle with pornography. They struggle with these desires or proclivities secretly, starting from the pulpit to the pew.
Yes.
Like they struggle with this stuff, and I think what happened? They got off. I think personally, with our situation, with a lot of people's situations, the church had to have a real conversation about sex, because if you don't, you have a generation come up behind us that's duplicating the same mistakes, the same pitfalls, the same problems, the same issues. They're back on. Okay, the same problems, the same issues over and over again, and then my daughter struggles with the same things that I struggle with.
Right.
Or my son struggled with the same things that I struggle with. And now we have a generational cycle of people who have this natural desire, this natural intrinsic hormonal desire that God put on the inside of every human being, that happen and trigger around about 13 or 11 or 12, depending on your puberty development. It's a natural desire that God put on the inside of us that's not evil. It's not bad. It's not a sin. It's naturally. It's naturally we attracted to the opposite sex. That's a natural inclination.
Yeah.
Just like I tell more of our time, like feelings. These feelings are not a sin. How you feel is not a sin.
Correct.
How you respond and act off your feelings,
Right.
that becomes a sin.
Yes.
So teaching that conversation and have the conversation in church while you're single. So before you get married, when you do get in the process of being married, you can have an opportunity to have the conversation and grow mature in that regard.
That's why it's so important to have premarital counseling, and where you talk about getting to know each other other than past the feelings, other than past the, I love you because, getting to know those three areas like you talked about, getting to know them as a person, but also getting to know how they communicate. What are their communication styles? What's their love languages? What are their finances like? Are you going to be in debt? And then what are your expectations on sex? Right. And you got to have those three. Like you said, those three are very important in a relationship. And it doesn't have to be all on the same level. Like if sex is low, but communication is high, you can kind of make up for where area is low. If your finances are low, but you know about it, and you communicated about it, then you can still make it.
I think that I feel like, it's this danger and this fear of, it not happening. And then all of a sudden when they get like you said with premarital counseling, like it's important to include that part, right? So when you're having the conversation, not only are you going to see it seems like with premarital counseling, we focus on the issues and the problems that can arise. But what about that part too? Like talking about the sexual aspect, what the expectations are, what the likes, dislikes, different things of that nature too, that helps prep and gets them prepared for that moment as well. Just as much as you're trying to prep them as a husband and a wife, you also need to prep them as a lover. That's important too. And then you get these people who get married and they like, okay, what now?
Right.
Well, and I think one thing that we have to be able to do is teach people it's okay to explore.
Right.
And so one thing, like what we did recently with our couples, right? We had a dinner and we just had a forum for them to take home. We didn't, because it was an intimate discussion, right? But teach me how to love you, right? So I asked my husband, teach me how to love you. What do I do that you like? What do I need to do more of that maybe I'm not doing, but you would like me to do? And then let's talk about the bedroom. Right? Let's talk about what you need, what you want, what you like. Because if we're not having those conversations, then we're not going to have a healthy relationship. And that means our intimacy level isn't where it needs to be. And so when you have a strong intimacy level, you should be able to have those communications regularly, right? And one of the things that I tell our youth all the time is that sex is good in the context of marriage.
Right.
God created it. It is a good thing. You're to enjoy it. You're to embrace it in the context of marriage. But there's a scripture that says, do not awaken love before it's time.
See?
And I said, so you have to be careful, because what happens, and I'm telling my 18-year-olds this and 16-year-olds this. What happens is when you awaken it by doing too much petting, doing too much, having too many conversations with, your boyfriend or girlfriend, you're awakening that love to take you to another place.
Right.
That you're not ready emotionally, mentally to go. And so I think we have to have those conversations. And sometimes they're like, ew, we don't want to talk about that. And then as they mature, they're like, can we talk about that again? Right? I would rather them hear it from me in church than learn it through pornography, to learn it through the world, right? I'd rather them come to us and find us as the safe place.
And if we don't talk about it in the church, it's they're gonna find out about it somewhere. They're gonna because they're curious, because it's a natural feeling. It's a natural urge. So if they don't talk about it in church, they're going to find out somewhere. They're going to find the answers somewhere. And if we're afraid to talk about it in church, or if we don't know, we need to find out. We need to learn.
Because it's not bad.
No,
it's not a bad thing. It's how you use it can come off a little,
right. And it's like the Bible says, the people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
So
and you wonder why folks out here with have addictions with pornography and stuff. You know, and it's like they don't know what to do with their body. And instead of us being wise and teaching these kids and people how to really effectively use yourself the right way, and it's like you said, which I totally agree with, is for the institution of marriage. You know, you should not be out here, because with sexual pleasure can also beget children. And you don't have this commitment or this tie to this person that you are laying down with, you're going to create children that don't have mothers and fathers and family and it just causes all kinds of habits and problems. You know, and it's just better. Go ahead.
Good. And I want to say also, because I seen a comment come there, I want to say this right now, especially to men and women. There is a danger to exposing yourself to pornography to fix a urge. And the cost of it is so long term that you don't think about it in the moment. Because in the moment it's in gratification. But what you do to your imagination is such a powerful thing that what you do to your mind that it messes how you see people. It messes up, like, yo, it's a gateway toward perversion. That when perversion is fulfilled, it's like, yo, your mind. That's how people end up molesting children without even thinking about it.
Wow.
That's how people end up giving to rape without even thinking about it. Why? Because you have perverted your mind to the point that has been seared that you can't even discern right from wrong. Because you kept killing your imagination. You kept overriding your conscience. And before you know it, you start watching stuff in pornography that's so like perverse that you don't even like yo, you're not even like you're immune to it being wrong. Like you lose shame. And once shame is gone, now you're in the danger zone of being a reprobate in that area because there's no shame now.
Wow.
There's no conviction now. There's no, okay, this is wrong.
Right.
Like it will have you leaving a healthy marriage, chasing an image, or chasing an illusion
that doesn't exist.
And before you know it, you left your family for 18 years. You left your kids, all that stuff, because guess what? The devil got you in a game. He got you trapped in a matrix. That's why sex is a desire that has to be tamed by rules and boundaries. Because if not, it will overtake you.
Yep.
It will overtake you. It will consume your life. It will mess up good relationships. It will keep you from being productive in relationships. It will mess up with your sex life inside the marriage. It would do so many things destructively. That's why the scripture that Pastor Holly brought up, like, don't awaken love before it's time, is so important. Because if you do, it's almost like if you're back in the day, you make preserves and put it in a mason jar. And like if you open it before the time, you ruin the preserves. You ruin the whole jar, got the whole jar away. And that's why it's so important when it comes down, we talk about the context of sex, that we have real life conversations and really deal with, like, yo, what was your previous sexual experience before you got married?
Right.
Yep.
What were you exposed to before you got married?
Right. So true. Yeah, because you got to realize everything that feels good to you is not good for you.
Right.
In regards to, like, pornography, it might feel good at first, but it's like, it's, that's not good for you because it leads you down a path, of destruction.
Yeah.
And basically, it's like driving a car. You can't drive a car legally without a license and registration, right? And that marriage covenant is that license and registration to engage in the driving or having sex with your wife or husband.
And I think it's important that we learn it's okay. The Bible says that the marriage bed is undefiled, and it's okay to explore with our mate, with our husband, right? Or our wives. It's okay to explore. And I think that's where people are like, well, I don't know what to do because I've been told I can't touch, and now I can touch. Like what? And we always go back to a context of sex before marriage, right? If you had it before, what that experience was like. If you haven't and you have no concept, then it brings about other things. So I think we always have to have communications around it. And I think we have to have communications as women with the younger ones.
Right.
We need to let them know it's okay. This is what you may feel. This is what you may struggle with, right? And all of us at different age brackets start experiencing different things. Hormones play a part.
Right, big time.
Keith and I were talking about just this week in the car. He said, I can't remember how it even came up. He had read an article or something about how a man physically needs to ejaculate every
21 days.
21
days out of the month, something like that.
Right.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Or something like that, right? So I was taught, I said to him, I knew that. I was taught every 24 hours. But this is what I was taught. I was taught that you need to take care of your husband, because if you're not having sex every 24 hours, he's getting it somewhere else. Okay, that's what I'm taught. And what had been said to me, that I somewhere in my mind grabbed a hold of that and said, note to self, when I get married, I have to do this all the time, because if not, he'll go find somebody else and leave me. Right.
See?
And so now this belief system has been built, and my poor husband didn't even know that belief system was there, or that now I've enslaved myself in a way that's unhealthy. Like we just had that communication, right? We've been married 12 years.
Sometimes I'm just tired.
And it came up, right? And it was like, and I said, the funny thing is, I know my husband. So thank God for intimacy, because I know my husband.
Right.
That I know if it's not happening, it's not somebody else. But if we're teaching our daughters, or young ladies, that this is what happens, then what happens is he's tired and doesn't feel like it. And in her mind, she's like, okay, who's the hoe? Because I know you're doing somebody else if you're not doing me. Right. And we create this cycle, and poor thing, he's like, I don't even know what's happening right now. I had a bad day at work. I'm tired, whatever.
All of a sudden, here comes some hot grits poured over me while I'm sleeping.
Right. And it's the stigma. It's what's planted. We gotta stop. We gotta stop that. We really do. It's not right. It's not right. I just don't like how they're just like pro sex period sometimes, and don't really give them a good explanation to really what the truth of the matter is. Like, it's not that you shouldn't have sex, you just shouldn't have it before you get married. Like, I would rather someone say it like that. Like, my daughter definitely going to be raised with that kind of understanding, because I don't want her to think, oh my God, because I was afraid for a really long time. I mean, it was bad. My mom thought I was going to be gay, because, I was like, oh no, that's crazy. Like, we're not supposed to do that, because the church would tell you, like, no, you're not supposed, shame on you, shame on you, shame on you. And then what happened? Now you got all these kids going out hiding and sneaking, and they do it, and they turning up with children. You like, well, what happened? You know, one minute I saw you was fine. Next minute you got a big old belly. You know, and it's just like because we gotta train them right. We gotta train them right. You know, we're not training them right, and that's the problem. You know, and I do agree to the because I found out in my studies when I did the benefits of orgasm for men, it helps against prostate cancer.
That's what the thing
So
said.
yeah. So that's the so it is the truth.
So it is good. It is good.
Right. Yes. But I don't know about 21 because that's a bit much. I'm just saying, you know, 31 days in a month. Like what now? That's a bit much. I'm just saying. And I'm a sexual being.
But you know what?
But 21 times.
But you know what?
Is that in a day, a week, 2 weeks? Can somebody be clear?
A month.
Oh, in a month.
But like I want to say
what?
something to Pastor Holly.
How you divide that up?
She's still on the 20. Go ahead, sir.
But I do the math. I want to inject something though because I think one of the problems is especially in the church. I want to inject something though because he put somebody got an echo. I think one of the problems is especially in the church. Did you see? Hey, see.
Oh, you echoing.
Yeah, through the playback. Then you got a playback going on. Your tablet. There you go. I think one of the problems in church is this: we put religion in a place that religion wasn't supposed to be, and we put religion in the bedroom. And what happens now is this, and like it created this stigma, like you said, it created this stigma where like, yo, it's religiosity, and like it's been passed down from generation to generation. Even to what I remember back in the 90s, there was a problem with fellatio, where churches were debating whether or not oral sex was okay in the bedroom.
That's some foolishness.
They were debating back in the early 90s, and like it took leaders of prominence and listen, listen, the bed is undefiled. That's going on between a husband and a wife.
You do what you do.
Never go in their bedroom is in their bedroom. And it's a very, very critical point because I know a situation where like people have actually divorced their spouses or problems came up sexually because their spouses refused to do certain things that please their spouse. And it caused a divide, and families actually like people that left their wives, preachers left their wives because Sister Susie was willing to do something that my wife wasn't willing to do, and a lot of it is because of the stigma.
Right.
Like this, God designed me to do this, and that created this drama. We're like, yo, to be honest, I may not like the same positions all the time. I may not like this all the time. I may want this this time. And being able, like I said before, be able to explore that aspect in your marriage freely without shame.
Yes.
Because in honesty, how God really designed it is the fact that you get married and you get married without any prior experience. So now that we come together, we're discovering this journey together at the same pace, at the same time. So guess what? I'm discovering you, you're discovering me without any pre-notion of anything.
Right.
Yep.
So with that being said, I don't know what's going on here. You got to hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
We can't hear
We can't hear you now.
You started to hear me?
Yeah, a
little
little bit.
Yes. I think.
You guys hear me?
Yeah. Try it again. I can hear you a little bit. You're cutting in and out.
Yeah. 1 second.
That's better. He's just low.
You hear me now?
Barely. No, we can't hear you.
All right, cool. Gotta come back in 1 second. You guys hear me now?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, 1 second. Let me just make sure I'm active. Then my wife trying to get back on. You guys hear me?
Yeah, but you're kind of low, but we can hear you.
Okay, 1 second. Take it off. Take that. Cool. You guys hear me now?
A little bit.
Better?
It's low.
Low?
Yeah. Did your mic change or something? Your input?
Okay.
I wanted to see if people were commenting. That's why I went on, but
That's what I thought this was.
What are the finances like? Are you going to be in debt? Is love if your finances are?
you can hear us. We're running the show by ourselves. We should just ham it up. No.
So, what do you guys want to talk about? Any comments out there? You see any comments? Any
No,
questions?
I don't see any comments.
Okay.
No, we'll answer your questions.
If you give us some.
Oh, leave it to us. We're the crazy ones.
You crazy.
You just see you going like this.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you want to talk about?
I guess the topic is sex. But I think
Let's
But
talk about
you guys use your own
baby.
data. Don't use it. Don't use the Wi-Fi. You hear me?
Invested in on my
yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, good. We live, ain't we?
Mm-hmm.
We live.
When you were talking about religion in the bedroom, God, had church of religion and a church of religion in the bedroom.
Where are we going with this? Go ahead.
I think the problem is we put religion in the church.
Come on.
God never established the church for religion. He established a church for relationship. God the Father, God the Son, and we relate to him as sons and daughters, not just as a religion. That's when things messed up, because that's what happened with the law. So the church was never really built for religion. It was built for relationship. And that's where we went wrong. So if everything is ordered by relationships, then we relate as father and son. Then we can relate to each of our husband and wife as husband or wife. And it's much easier that way. And it's the way God originally designed it. When God created everything, he created was decently in order. He created the heavens, the earth. He created the earth, and from the earth the trees were built. From the waters, the fish came out, and from the ground, God, and from the ground, trees came up. But God created man out of himself. And when he said, let us make man. And that's a relationship. God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit made. That's a relationship. That's us make a man. And we were established through relationship. And that's how we, if God wanted to make the church first, he would have made the church first, but he made man and wife first.
There was no need for church before sin. There was no need. There was no need for a cross or shedding blood before sin. Like that became an aspect after sin. And I think once again,
so church was established out of sin.
Yeah, as a response.
To sin.
The cross is response to sin.
So God originally made us for a relationship.
Primarily. And once again, when you objectify your spouse, you take away from relationship. Take away from intimacy.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, I'm more concerned about you at 10 o'clock at night than 7 o'clock in the morning. And that's where the dynamic changes. And I think personally, especially for us as men, we live in a very objectifying world for us. Because like it almost is like everything I seen an ad on TV for insurance, and I was trying to ask myself, what did this girl in the bikini have to do with insurance? What did this gladly dressed girl have to deal with boxing? Like what? Why is this window dressing needed for a situation that had nothing to do with that? Like this man might get his head beat out. So why do I need a girl with a card showing me the round, coming around the ring, gladly dressed? Like, what's the point?
Right.
And it's because like the enemy knows that we're visually driven.
We're visual creatures.
We're visual creatures. So we're visually driven, and like, yo, that's why pornography is. I'm trying to tell people like that. To me, in my opinion, that is what's destroying marriages. That's what's destroying relationships and the ability to have intimacy, which leads to great sex, is because like, yo, we have so much instantaneous access to like the visual stimulation or leading to personal fulfillment. He's back. Leading to personal fulfillment.
We have cataracts in our eyes, so we can't see clearly because all the other stuff that we see. And so when we go to see our wife, we can't see her clearly because we have cataracts. Our eyes our vision is blinded.
And women that want that kind of attention knows how to dress to attract that attention.
Right. Well, what happens is women feel they have to dress that way to get attention rather than seeking the attention that they truly have the value to have. So then we feel like in order to have a husband, we have to be a sex toy. We have to then, it puts a stigma on women. That's why anorexia and bulimia is so high. That's why women are killing themselves because they're never perfect enough, right? I've got this role here. I got this role there. And the reality is we'll never be the airbrushed person because they're airbrushed. That's why they look the way they do. We see that with filters, right? I can put a filter on and have a full face of makeup and never leave the room, right? It's all an illusion, and the enemy loves that, because as long as we're living in this world of illusions, then we never know the real truth. The truth of the gospel, the truth of true relationship with one another, whether it's companionship, it's friendship, or it's intimacy with our spouse. We'll never, ever understand that as long as we're living in a world of illusion, because nothing's perfect.
And the one thing I had to get free from, going back to a little bit of the religion within the bedroom, like there's scripture in the Bible where Paul says, a husband seeketh the things of the world to please the wife. That's why he can't be totally, wholly sold out to ministry, because once you're married, your attention is immediately divided between the work of God and ministering to your wife. And that's how it's supposed to be anyway. So it's a balance between the two, and like telling people out there, like, yo, there are things out here that can make your sex life with your wife better. There are things out here that can make your sex life with your husband better. Do not let the church, do not let the church.
Let you finish.
Yeah, do not let the church ruin the possibility of you really enjoying your spouse. Fill in the blanks. Do not let the church ruin your ability to go out there and get information, toys, education, whatever you need to make your life better with your spouse. And I ain't talking about no threesome. I ain't talking about no silly stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like we ain't talking about that stuff. Don't go outside the parameter of biblical principles.
That's a whole
but there are
level
things
of something else. They ain't got nothing
that
to do
can
with
make your life better with your wife and with your husband.
So my question was, I don't know if y'all in my struggles of trying to get back on my show. My question was, I don't know if you said it or not, but my question is, they also asked me, is there, as a Christian couple and as a Christian marriage, is there something that is not okay?
I think that depends on the couple.
Yeah.
Right? Because if the marriage bed is undefiled,
whatever you two agree on.
What you agree on. Now, I wouldn't, not bringing in other people, right? It's right here. So when we talk about the marriage bed, let's just make that very clear to people. We're talking about the two of us. But if we decide that we want to use toys, that's between us.
Right.
If we decide that we want to try different positions or do different things, that's between us. And that's part of that exploration of your partner, right?
That's right.
And so I think that's where, and I would even say bringing other people into the bedroom also is bringing pornography in. Right.
So ain't nobody sharing nothing.
Right. It's not just physical people, but it's that pornography as well. So it's really being able to explore one another and being free.
Right.
Because that's,
because we sometimes wrestle with the idea, especially as Christians, like, oh, that might be too worldly to do, or it might not be righteous for us to want to do oral sex on our partner or our husband or our wife, or it might not be, and these are the things that I think, because it went through my mind, because, just to tell my story, not to be explicit, but I was one of the people who didn't want to do oral sex. I was like, no, you ain't supposed, Christian ain't supposed to be doing that. Like, you don't do people pee-pee and stuff. That's unsanitary. Like, the Lord ain't telling me to do that. And that's where my mind was, because that's what I felt. I felt so like wrong to be able to do something like that. And then the mother of the church, the mother of the church that listens, she says, honey, you please your husband how you guys want to please your husband. I don't know who told you that that's wrong, but if you guys agree, like you said, if you agree that this is something you guys want to do, then do it. And don't feel no kind of way because of it. And it took about 10 years.
Well, I think one thing too, we have to be conscious of when you get married and you've had sex prior to being married, right? You have to have those conversations between the two of you of, if there's things that you go, that's off, I don't want that, that's off limits, we need to deal with the issue of that. Because there's an issue deeper,
that's good.
Right?
That's good.
And so when we're talking about intimacy, we need to dig a little deeper and understand that. It's not just like, okay, then we won't do that. But why is that? Are you okay? Did somebody hurt you there? right?
Right.
Why does that bring that up? Because then we learn how to deal with our mate. If that's a process of healing that needs to take place, then we talk about that. We move in that direction. If it's something that, you know, you just don't want to do, then you talk about that as well, or you feel it's dirty or whatever, right? There's always a reason behind it, that if the two of you have that communication and take time to listen and dig a little bit, your
Right.
marriage is going to be better because of it.
That's right.
Your marriage, your intimacy, your sex, all of that is going to be better because now you've taken time to really learn one another, not just the physical aspects, but what emotionally as well. So I would always think that's important.
And people understand, like, sex and intimacy is the manifestation of becoming one. And intimacy doesn't start. Now, this is one thing I had to learn. Intimacy doesn't start in the bedroom.
That's right.
It starts in the morning.
Yeah.
It starts in the morning. Like, I started this new thing with my wife, maybe like a year ago. I started doing this, where she calls me, right? She calls me, and I say to her, "Good morning, Queen." Or I say, "What's up, Queen?" And I didn't know that impact it had on her until one day she said something to me about it. And he said, yo, when you start saying that, I said, well, just start thinking from that standpoint and how I project, how I think about you. And she's like, yo, I like that. So, and anytime I call her and I tell her, if I call her, she calls me, I don't mention say Queen, her question is, okay, what's wrong? What the problem is? Like, because then she knows. I'm like, yo, I'm thinking, my bad. Like, but like that level of intimacy, it starts in the morning, like, and ends at night. And I think right now, the whole concept of like having these conversations with married couples is so important because there's so many women in particular who are living in a prison emotionally and sexually, being felt like by religion, they just got to go through the motions, you know what I'm saying, without them feeling the intimacy and the fulfillment they need to feel in their marriage. Men as well. Like, like a lot of churches have, like, marriages have failed or living in failure because the church haven't had these conversations.
Yeah, I think it's important. And I think we have to, the Bible also tells us that we're to train the younger, right? As women, we should be training the younger ones how to love their husbands. And that doesn't mean cooking and cleaning and doing laundry and all those things, but how do you love and connect with your husband? And that is critical to success.
That's right.
It can be all those other things, but for so long it was just like, here's what you do, but nobody ever taught about how to please your husband.
That's right. And
one thing that even as a church we've been talking about in the month of February was we were going through the Song of Solomon and talking about love, right? And really understanding the intimacy between us and the Father. And when we are intimate between us and the Father, we have to be intimate here, right? Because we are one. And the biggest challenge is that the enemy doesn't want us in the context of marriage to be with one another. That's why before you're married, your hormones are raging and you want it all the time. And then you get married and it's like, okay. Right. And it's like your bodies are changing. You're tired. There's distractions. There's children. There's all these things that keeps you from being sexual with your partner. And that's when we become one. And so I tell people all the time when they come to us for counseling, when was the last time you had sex? And if they say it's been a month, I'll say, go handle that. Come back and we'll talk.
Right.
Because 9 times out of 10, that's the problem. You can't get on the same page if you're not having some type of intimate conversations, relations of some sort. And so it's important. It's very, very important.
I was going to ask, do you guys have any suggestions for married couples that help in that department?
Talk.
So I'm gonna give y'all mine. So I found there's cards, conversation cards that you guys can have. They have intimacy ones, they have date night ones. They help in that department. If you are a Christian married couple, you can go out, you can get them from Amazon, Walmart, wherever. They're definitely add to your you know, your sexual experience with your husband or your wife. You know, don't look at this experience as a chore. It should never be a chore. You should always want to enjoy your husband or your wife, especially the person that God gave you, and you deem you know, he is worthy or she is worthy enough to say I do. Then that's something that you guys gotta, you know, keep alive. Don't feel ashamed, whatever it is. So, you know, cards, I know of, games, toys, all of that stuff I know have been good things that, you know, you can do to kind of help that area. Most importantly, conversation, because women, we are, well, I don't know about you, Pastor Holly, but for me, intimacy starts in the morning. You know, when you wake up, when you get throughout the day, how we communicate, how we work together, and then when the nighttime hit, it's like, okay, you about to get all of these cookies, okay?
Right, because you've been taking care of me all
women
day.
tend to be for the most part that I know. I don't know if you feel something different.
No, that's absolutely true. And one thing that we do, maybe this is too much information, but one thing we do, we go to the sex store together.
Amen. We do.
Come on, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
honey.
Because there's no shame.
Right.
We're in this together. We stand in there and laugh. We stand in there and joke. We look at things, see what we want to try, all of that, right? And we could leave empty-handed or with a basket, but we're laughing and it builds communication. Because the reality is it's taking something awkward that you wouldn't just do with somebody, and it's making it a priority to one another. And it also opens conversations, just like the cards, right? You can buy those intimacy cards, and it makes you ask questions that you would be too embarrassed normally, particularly if you're newly married. Right. It pushes you to ask questions that you would normally be embarrassed to ask, but since it's on the card, it gives you permission. So that's a great way to break the ice and do that.
Absolutely. And you know what? People around here, not people, I know, I just say people, I'm going to keep the focus, right? So Christians act like y'all know we freaky. Like,
where else
come on
Christians
now.
come from?
Don't be trying to act like you ain't freaky, because you know behind closed doors you be tearing your husband and your wife up. So like, why you afraid? Don't be afraid.
Right.
You know, you never know who you can help.
You guys, once again, you gotta get rid of that stigma. And you gotta be able to have a healthy, productive conversation.
That's right.
And like I said before, and like I said before, doesn't mean you get all explicit, because like you have mixed crowds. Depending on the crowd you're dealing with, dictates how open, how vulnerable, transparent you are. You know what I'm saying? And like my thing is, one thing I've learned is, through counseling, is counselors give you the tools, don't give you the answers.
Right.
And we as a church, we are equipped with tools. That we should be equipping ourselves with tools that we can tell people, and they can fill in the blanks on their own. You know what I'm saying? But like, discuss the boundaries by what God has constructed, this wonderful gift He gave in marriage, and then allow them to fill in the blanks to wherever they fit in, but not giving them anything and to give them a blank slate. Oh, go knock yourself out. Like you figure out, like read the manual, you're good. That doesn't help.
Right.
That doesn't help, and it leaves people stranded without solutions and answers, and then people get divorced could have got fixed if we took the time to give them the tools to fix it.
Right.
And I think
And
sorry, go ahead.
And I think that's indictment on the church.
I do.
That's the indictment on the church.
I agree.
I thirdly that motion.
We got the Bible, and it's used the Bible for spirituality and not for pragmatic issues. When the Bible has all the answers. It's a whole book dealing with intimacy between a husband and wife that we don't even touch. That we don't even talk about, we don't discuss. The only thing we quote from it is the Rose of Sharon, and that's it. We don't quote anything else from that book but the Rose of Sharon. We don't like that. We don't get in how he described his wife's body parts. We don't get in how he desired his wife. We don't get in that at all. We talk about I'm the Rose of Sharon. Put it to Jesus. Yep, that's Jesus. He's the Rose of Sharon. That's it. But there's more to that Bible. There's more to that book as you getting saved.
Solomon was
about you living a life to the fullest.
Yes, and we
Solomon was showing uphill.
We need to read. My mom is 90, right? And I told her we were doing Bible study, and we were doing the book of Song of Songs. And she said, I don't even know why they put it in the Bible. Are we supposed to read that? Right. And she says, God's been telling me to read it. But I mean, she's 90, right? So she's like, I don't know. But that shows you the mentality of the church, right? If God has given us a roadmap, then we should use it. God has given us the Bible, and we pick and choose what we want to use. Well, look in that book, because trust me, you'll want to use it, right? Like there are keys that will unlock things in our own minds and hearts that we've been taught differently. And so it shows you, and I'm glad you said that, because it's true. The church has not talked about it. We've made it taboo. It's almost like if we don't talk about it, then we can't, it doesn't happen. Well, we all know it happens, and it's happened illegally. So by us hiding it, we're creating these secrets that are happening in the church, and nobody's dealing with it. And it's causing division in the church, division in the homes, marriages are being lost, and the enemy is winning. That's what's happening because we haven't taken it back. And we have to be able to take that back. And I also think we have to talk about more is hormonal issues.
Come on.
Because for women, that's big. And if they've just had a baby and their hormones are all over the place, no, they probably don't feel like it. It's not about rejection of their husband. They're trying to figure out what's going on with their body, right? Things like that. We have to be in church. We have to be honest about. That there are other things. So when people come to me and they'll say, well, this is how I'm feeling, I always say, go get your hormones checked. Because it sounds like it could be hormonal, right?
Yeah.
There are practical things that happen in our bodies too that we need to be mindful of.
And that's good. That was actually really, really good. I didn't even think about that because, some people deal with all kinds of issues, especially with women. And you could think that it's your non-desire to want your husband. And it's really, like you said, it's really something going on inside of here. So that's good. That was good. And the only thing other thing I was going to say was, how do you reject or not acknowledge what God created? Like he created us to be this way. And it's like you do more damage, like he said, you do more damage not teaching it correctly than not teaching it at all. And it shouldn't be, like you guys have been saying, and it's redundant, but it shouldn't be a shameful thing. It's not a shameful place, It's not a place that you should be telling everybody business. But at the same time, when you know that there is an effective way and just a freeing way to be able to talk about and discuss it and stuff like that, that should be okay. And it should be like an issue. Because there's couples right now that probably didn't come on because of how harsh or difficult, this kind of topic is, because they're not, they're not, hip to this kind of conversation. or something of that nature. And I get it. I totally understand. But that's why I wanted to talk about this. It was another couple who actually was going to be on, but she couldn't make it. It was Kim and Rasan. They were going to be on too, but she couldn't make it. But you know, and it's really important. It's really important. And I really wanted to have this conversation. I thank you guys so much. I love y'all. I love you. I love you
Love
so
you guys
We
too.
love you too.
and thank you guys for just being a part of this conversation. We might do a two. We might do a conversation because Kim asked me if I was gonna do this again, and I said I don't know, we'll see. But if we do, we might do a continuation of this conversation maybe next week. So I'll keep you guys in mind. If you can and cannot do it, I'll let you know.
Okay.
But yeah, so thank you so much for any lasting words you guys would like to say.
Not for me.
Yeah. Don't put sex in a box.
Right.
Right. And that's because of religion, especially in the church. Religion, one of the tools of religion is shame.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what God doesn't establish, that he wants a relationship.
Oh, that's good. Lord, that's good.
What I gotta say is this: if we're gonna deal with the sex, you also have to deal with you gotta be willing to deal with the wrong practice of sex as well.
Mm-hmm.
You got you gotta be able to really deal with the wounds that came apart of sex or sexual acts, whether it be molestation, whether it be rape, whether it be the giving of yourself. Because you understand, when you are sexual, in God's eyes, you're married. So in a spiritual context, you're still carrying the person you had sex with 4 or 5 years ago.
Yep.
You carry that experience with you. And the question is, how many times have you been married before you got married?
Right.
And did you make sure you divorced them before you got married?
Yeah.
So it's a spiritual context to this thing as well. And that's why once again I always stress, guard, if you are a virgin, guard that treasure.
Yeah.
Guard it with your life.
Absolutely.
It may not seem like as much, and you might get peer pressure from around the world that you ain't doing it yet. Nah, if you are a virgin, guard that treasure with your life.
Keep your hymen intact, ladies.
Because that thing right there, once it's unlocked, it's like Pandora's box. You can't put it back in. Put it back in. So that's my prayer. And your imagine, you probably have to do a part 2 because your imagination is everything. That mess up your marriage. If your imagination is jacked up, go ahead, Pastor Allie.
I think you have to have the discussion of the spiritual aspect of not doing it right. Having sex outside of marriage, because there's a lot to that we can't even begin to uncover right now, right? But if somebody would have explained to me the spiritual challenges and issues and things of it, my decision making would have been completely different. Because for me, it wasn't a fear of having a baby. It wasn't a fear of STDs. It wasn't a fear of any of that. If somebody would have said to me, there's spiritual things that happen when you connect with people, then I would have been like, wait, I'm making some different decisions. So I definitely think that you guys need to explore that.
That's good. Well, we definitely going to talk about it next week. Part 2, how you doing? And I just wanted to say that sex is a confident place.
Yeah.
You know, it's especially with your husband or your wife. It should be a confident place, and you shouldn't feel non-confident in that space. You know, and if you are, you need to have those conversations with your husband or your wife. If you feel incompetent or whatever the case may be, those are, and don't feel like it's because sometimes we can, especially women, we can feel like we ain't right size or we're not, however we should be looking to be sexy to our spouses. But he like you however you is. And if you can stand in that room and watch you push a whole baby out your hoo-ha, then listen, that's good enough. Like, be
Yeah.
confident. Be confident about it, have that confidence. And then they find that attractive. I know that it's very attractive for a man to be confident, especially in the bedroom. And I know it's definitely confident for a woman to be, for a woman to be confident in the bedroom. So y'all keep that in mind as well. As we close out. So thank you guys again. Please like and share. Please don't forget to go on my YouTube page and to subscribing. Yeah. So thank you guys. This was great. So I guess we're gonna do the conversation too. I'm so excited. And maybe hopefully Kim and our Rasan can be on too. So hopefully they can get down with the combo. And the other ones they chickened out, They scared. I ain't gonna call them out. I ain't gonna call them out today. I ain't gonna call them out today. So, all right. Love you guys. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye, guys. See you next week.
Bye.
Good night.
Night.
Go and do that thing. Oh, right. That was good. That was so good. Outside of all the technical difficulties that I had, it was a really good conversation. And that's what you need to have, guys. Listen, take heed. Take heed to what you heard. Listen, don't be ashamed. Don't feel like fear. And stop believing the voices of things that pretty much set it in fear also, and that's something that we need to take into mind, that this is a place that has been created for us to explore and to have fun in, and it's undefiled, and it's made for marriage. There is a reason why it's made for marriage, and we're going to get and dive more into that next week, because there is a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual connection when it comes down to sex, when it comes down to marriage. It's not just made for anybody. It's not made for courting and dating and stuff like that. You're not supposed to be spilling seeds, and you're not supposed to be giving yourself away and stuff like that. No, we need to make sure that we keep it for marriage, and I'm all for it. I am here 110 for it. If you have never heard that before, please, I will be the first to tell you that that's what this is all about. It's all about keeping it in the marital bed. And when you're in the marital bed, trust me, you can go have as much fun as you want to, but let's keep folk out your bedroom, okay? Just let it be you and your husband. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm speaking from. Let it be you and your husband, okay? Let that just be the case. All right. Keep the videos and the peoples on the TV and in person at your room. Let's just make sure you heard that clear. All right. So thank you. I hope you guys heard something that empowered you, that helped you, that made you think, and just took you out of your shell in a little bit. We will be back next week for our next conversation on the same thing. So listen, I hope you guys tune in next Wednesday at 7 p.m. We're going to be talking about this thing because it's important, and I'm here to help. We're here to help, so that's what we're here for. So thank you so much for went over a little bit, but it's all right. So thank you again. I appreciate all of you guys. Please go on to B.O.W.S.com and look at all of our information that we have coming up. Please go on. I'm on YouTube. If you didn't see it through Facebook, let your friends and family know. They don't have a Facebook, because my mom, she'll watch sometimes on YouTube. So it's Bo Sienna on YouTube. We're everywhere on all kinds of social media. We're collecting donations. Food donations, clothing donations, monetary donations. You can see it below. Please, if you would like to give a donation, please do send it to the information that you see that's below me. Or if you would like to do it in a different way, you can also find my information on beautypost.com. Okay, or you can just Google me. Either way, there's a way that you can get it to me. And don't forget April 9th will be our next tea time. So ladies, I would love to see you come out. And we're going to have so much fun. And I'm so excited for what's going to happen. Thank you to Pastor Keith and Pastor Holly. I love you guys so much. Thank you, Mr. Boone, for also helping me once again. You are so wonderful. And I love you too. Thank you again for everybody who stopped by to say hi or to listen or to watch. And if you have Facebook, please don't forget to like and share, and so that they can even watch the playback as well. All right. So thank you again. I appreciate you. Hi, Miss Bridget. Miss Bridget Rankins, First Lady. How you doing? Thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. Listen, get home safe. I'm Lady B. I love you guys and I mean it. Have a wonderful night. And to all my married couples, you know what to do. All right. Have a good night. Bye, guys.